This lecture is lecture number 12, part B. This section is about the BOM. BOM means Browser Object Model. There are several chapters. Let's look at this menu. We are learning this section. After this DOM, we are learning this BOM section. There are several chapters. We'll start from this window. After that, screen, location, history, navigator, pop-up alert, timing, and this cookies is skipped one, excluded one. There's will complete except cookies. And this one is the first chapter about the window. This window object is one of the browser objects, and in this browser object model, this browser object model allows JavaScript to talk to the browser. Thus, we can write some program using this browser object model, and one of them is window object. There are no official standard for BOM, and since modern browsers have implemented the same methods and the properties for JavaScript interactivity, it is often referred to as methods and the properties to the BOM. Window object. The window object is supported by all browsers. And let's look at this example. Window object. This document object is belonging to that, and the get element by ID, as we used already, we can access this element. The name, ID name is header. And here we can omit this one. This one is window size. There are two properties about this window size. First one is inner height. This one is the inner height of the browser window. The unit is pixels. And the inner width. This is the inner width of the browser window. The unit is in pixels. Here, the browser window is not including toolbars and the scroll bars. Those are excluded. Let's look at this example. Window object. And this one has some properties. One of them is inner width, and another one is inner height. In this real example, we can get the value in terms of the pixel. Browser inner width 411, height is around 250, and that is this one, and 1 pixel is different from this. And if I am changing this one, you can see this one is being changed. If I am running again this one, then this one will show the same, almost the same or same value about that width and about that height. Okay, here the inner width or client width or body.client width, those value will be assigned to the W variable W, and the height will be assigned to this H variable, and that values, those values can be concatenated here, and the result will be shown out here. Other window methods, about the methods, because the API is related to that method as well as the properties, thus we should understand what kinds of methods are there about this window. There are several, and one of them is open and another one is close method, move to method, resize to method. Okay, this one doesn't have any example, thus let's move to the next. JavaScript window screen. This one is about the screen object. This screen object contains information about the user screen that will be different from device to device. And similarly, we can omit this window object name. There's only screen.width or height, available width or available height, color depth, pixel depth. We'll look at each one more in detail. First one is window screen width. This property returns the width of the visitor's screen or user screen in pixels. Here, let's look at this real example. Screen width is 1280, and this is about that wide width, full width of this screen. That is called the width property belonging to this screen object. Some other properties are there, and another one is height property. This one is returning the value of the height of the user screen in pixels. Here height, the unit is pixels. Another one, available width. If we are excluding the taskbar or toolbar, we can get the information about the available width. In terms of width, the taskbar will be excluded. There's this object name and the available width, that is a property for that, and we can get that information in pixel unit. Also, similarly, we can get the available height. Also, that will be in pixel unit. Screen color depth. Depending upon the device, the color depth, how many bits are being used to present that color resolution. Usually 24 bits, but sometimes 32 bits. Depending upon that, the number of bits, the whole number of colors will be different. If we are using 24 bits, that means 16 million different colors can be presented. Here, let's look at the color depth of my device. Then simply we can use this screen.color depth. That this one is showing the bit for that color. That is called color depth, 24 bit. As we used already about the color, using this hexadecimal value that is being used, and the 24 bits, that is the color depth for that. In the screen pixel depth, also this one is the same. The screen dot pixel depth property returns the pixel depth of the screen. For modern computers, color depth and the pixel depth, those are equal. Let's move to the next. Next one is about the window location. Location means the URL here, the address. That is a property belonging to this window, and we can omit, as we learned already in the previous chapters, window object, that object name window that can be omitted. Only for window object we can omit. And this object can be used to get the current page address, that means a URL, and to redirect the browser to a new page. Here, window.location object, and some properties are belonging to this. And this one is returning the href of the current page, and host name, path name, protocol, and finally method. Into this one we can load a new document using that assigned URL value. First one, let's look at this property, href, hypertext referencing URL. This one is returning the URL of the current page. Thus, if we are using this example, then we can see the current URL here, window.location href. We can omit this one. Anyhow, let's learn this one, then we can get this information. This one is exactly same here. You can see this one exactly same. This address URL can be accessed into this href. The property name is href, and this one is belonging to this location object, and this location is belonging to this window object. And also, as I mentioned already, this window dot that can be omitted. Still we can get the same result like this. Window location host name and some subset or portion of the whole URL we can get. And this host name is a subset of the whole URL, and a portion of the whole URL we can get it. This one is about the host name, and let's look at this real example. And after concatenation we can get the information about this, and this one is about this, a portion or subset of the whole URL. We can get it, and this one is host name, and another one that is path name. Also, that is a portion of the whole URL here, /js, and this one. Here, window.location path name, and here let's look at this one is the portion and called the path name here /js try it asp. That is a portion of the whole URL, and we can get it. That is path name. And similarly, we can get other portion, and that is here protocol. Also, this one is a portion of the whole URL, because whole URL is composed of a protocol and the path name and the file name and so on. There's this one, protocol will show this HTTPS. That is probably the prefix of this in front of that whole URL we can get. This is the protocol name, HTTPS, secure HTTP. And the location port, similarly we can get some port number here, and usually that the URL port number of the current page that is omitted here. But if the port number is default, 80 is for HTTP and the 443 is for HTTPS. Let's see if we are getting this one. That is omitted here. The most browsers will display 0 or nothing. There's this one not shown here. Okay, after closing some open tabs, let's continue. Most browsers will not display default port numbers. We are using 80, and that is for HTTP protocol, and port 3 for HTTPS. And this one is about the method to assign new URL. Then we can jump to that URL. This method loads a new document here, assign, and in this parentheses, this one is holding the new URL. Then here in this example, if I am clicking this one, then this new document, that function will be invoked, and here that the assign, that the method will be executed, that is showing this URL web page like this. Okay, let's move to the next. Next one is about JavaScript window history. History is about the navigation. I am going to the next web page, and I came here from the previous web page, and we can go to the previous web page, and we can go to the next web page like this, and then we can go to the previous. And this one was executed, and I clicked this one, the user clicked this one, but JavaScript, we can make JavaScript run to move forward or move backward. And this object, history object, contains the browser's history, and we can use some method to move to the next one or to go back to the previous one. The window.history object can be written without the window prefix, as we did already. We can omit this one. This one is being repeated. And history.back, this is the method belonging to this history object, and the forward method. To this one we can go forward. History back, and to this one we can go back to the, that means we can go to the previous web page. Before this web page, we stayed in other page, and we can go back. Here, let's look at this real example, like this. Go back, and here that method can be used. Forward, here, if we are using this one, we can go forward. If that information is stored in the history object, we can go. Okay, let's move to the next. Another one is Navigator Object. This one is containing information about the visitor's browser. And the window Navigator Object can be written without the window prefix. Here, navigator.appName, navigator.appCodeName, navigator.platform. Let's look at this example. Cookie enabled. Property returns true if cookies are enabled. Here, navigator.cookie enabled, that is property. This property will return here whether that is true or not, and that is Boolean value. If that cookie is enabled, then that will be true. If that cookie is not enabled, that means that is false. The Boolean value will be returned. Application name. AppName property is returning the application name of the browser. AppName here, some strange name is returned here, and this one is some comments about that. Strange enough, Netscape is the application name for Internet Explorer 11 or Chrome, Firefox, and the Safari. and thus that is not accurate information. And this one is explained about. This is strange enough. Browser application code name. Application code name property returns the application code name of the browser, and Navigator.code name. To this one we can get the information about the Mozilla. Here, after running this one, we can get the information, and this app code name is returning this Mozilla, and that is the application code name. And this one is another comment about this. Do not rely on it. Mozilla is the application code name for the Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, and Opera. And about the browser engine, that is the product property is returning that information. Here we are using that Navigator.product. This property is returning the value gecko. And also this is another comment about this. Do not rely on it. Most browsers return gecko as product name. Okay, another explanation about this. Not rely on this. Most browsers return gecko as a product name. Same explanation. And we can see the browser version with this app version property here. And this one is showing some version information about the browser. And just for reference, you can refer to this. The browser agent, also the user agent property is showing the user agent header that is sent by the browser to the server, and the server can understand what kind of user agent is being used by the user, and this user agent property is returning the information about that. This is the information, and that's just for reference. You can refer to this. Let's look at this. The user agent property returns the user agent header sent by the browser to the server, like this. Okay, and probably this one is the okay. We are almost finishing. This is the browser platform, Navigator.platform. Platform property returns the browser platform. That platform is the operating system, and we can see probably server can understand what kind of operating system is being used by the user device. Here, this one is returning, platform is returning Win32. Okay, and next one is browser language, and we can see the language information here, English. And the browser online. And Navigator.online. And due to this one, we can find out whether this one is enabled in terms of online, that is online or offline. Let's look at this one. Here, now the Wi-Fi internet that is running where, and here we can see this one is true. The value online, that value is true. And even though I am running again, that is true. But I will disconnect the Wi-Fi intentionally. Then you can see after running this one, you can see that will be changed to false because I disconnected the Wi-Fi connection, and I will reconnect again Okay, you can see this one is being changed again to true. Let's move to the next contents. With this Java enabled method, we can get the value whether that is true or not. If the Java is enabled, that will be returning true value. If that is not enabled, then false. And now the Java is disabled, thus it is returning false value here. And after closing some open tabs, let's move to the next. Okay, next chapter. Okay, this one is about the pop-up boxes, and this one is very convenient, and it is very usable JavaScript method. And there are three kinds. First one, alert box. We use this alert message box already, and another one is confirm, to confirm, and the final one is prompt box to get some input. And the first one is alert box. This one is so simple, as we used already, simply showing some message. An alert box is often used if we want to make sure information comes through to the user, and simply we can check, we can click the button, then it will go to the next step. It will proceed. When an alert box pops up, the user will have to click OK to proceed. If the user is not clicking, then that is not proceeding to the next step. Here, how we can use that alert, as we used already, simply we can use this alert method. And here, inside of that parenthesis, we can put in some character string, then that character string will be shown like this as an alert message, like this. And if I am clicking this one, we can go to the next step. That means we can proceed. Another one is confirm box. This one is simply to confirm, to make sure. A confirm box is often used if we want the user to verify or accept something. That means if we want to check the confirmation from the user, then we can use this confirm box method. The method name is confirm. And simply this one is okay. Let's look at this example, then we can understand better. Okay, this one is using this confirm here, this method, character string here, that will be shown as a confirmation message here, like this. Press a button. And there are two buttons. One is OK, another one is cancel. And if we are clicking this OK button, that means that return value will be true. Then in this if condition that will be true, then this character string will be shown out. And if we are clicking this cancel button, then return value will be false. Then this character string will be shown out. Let's click this OK first. Then you can see this character string. And let's try again. And you can see this one. Then in this case, let's click this cancel button. Then you can see this character string. In case of this else case, that means the value is false. Okay, next one is about this prompt box. This prompt box is often used if we want the user to input a value before entering a page. A syntax is like this. We can omit this window dot, and simply we can use this prompt method name only here, like this. After that, we can show some message, and also some. Okay, let's look at this real example. Okay, here we are using the prompt method here, and if I am clicking this one, then this one is showing this character string. Here, please enter your name. Please enter your name, and that initial value. This is the Harry Potter's initial value. You can change that. Even Korean character or any other character string will be acceptable. Here, you can change to any arbitrary character string you can put in here, and after that you can click OK button or cancel button. Depending upon that, this one is showing the result. Hello, Harry is some arbitrary character string, and how are you today? Here, hello, some arbitrary character string, and how are you today? That will be shown. If that is empty or null string, nothing there, null, then we can see user cancel the prompt, and this one is executed because that is, this case is true, null or empty string. Okay, this one is some minor comments about the line break. Sometimes we want to show this message in different line, then we can use this backslash and then we can go to the next line like this. If we are using another backslash and then we can put in two lines. Okay, after execution we can see this empty line again because this next line and another next line we can show the result. This is simple and minor comments about line break. Okay, this one is about the timing events. If the timer, this one is events relate to the timing and relate to the timer, and there are two important methods. One is SetInPower and another one is SetInterval. And let's look at the detailed information about this. The window object allows execution of code at specified time intervals. These time intervals are called the timing events. The two key methods to use with the JavaScript are, first one is SetInPower, and the parameter is, one is function and another one is millisecond. Please remember this, and please keep in mind the unit is millisecond. And after this timeout, this function will be invoked. And the SetInterval, this is repeating some function here. Every this specified millisecond, this function will be invoked repeatedly. And let's read this one. Same as SetInPower, but repeats the execution of the function continuously in this case. And SetInPower method, this one is belonging to this window object, thus we can omit this window as we did already. Here, let's look at this real example. Here we are using SetInPower first, this method, and this 3000, as I mentioned already, please remember the unit is millisecond. The 3000 millisecond means 3 seconds. Thus, after 3 seconds, that time is expired, this my function will be called. Thus, this one will be executed after 3 seconds. Let's click 1, 2, 3. Then that will be shown like that. And you can change that value then you can see the different time, and that will, the alert message that will be shown. And the next one is about the clear timeout. Sometimes we want to remove, we want to cancel that timeout. And due to this method, we can stop that execution of the function specified in the SetInPower. Here, clear timeout will be used in this way. Here, when we are using this SetInPower, we will get the variable here. This method uses the variable returned from this SetInPower, and this variable name will be used in this clear timeout as a parameter here in these parentheses. Then this SetInPower will be cancelled. That will be cleared. If that is before that timeout, if the function has not already been executed, that means before that timeout, we can stop that execution by calling the clear timeout method like this. Let's look at this real example. Okay, here, if I am clicking this one, then wait 3 seconds. And later, after 3 seconds, as we used already in the previous example, that is being used here again. And after 3 seconds, this alert, hello alert message will be shown here. Let's try again. After 3 seconds, this hello message will be shown here. And but if I am clicking this one, and before 3 seconds, if I am clicking this one, then I can cancel that timeout. And we cannot see any alert statement here because that is cancelled into this clear timeout method, and that my variable, that is the returned one here. In the previous SetInPower method is returning that variable and some value to that variable, and that the variable will be used here to clear up that timeout. And next one is about SetInPower method. This method repeats a given function at every given time interval. The every given time interval is this one. And every given time interval, the time interval is this, and every time interval, this function will be invoked repeatedly. And it is being repeated again and again. And the window.setInterval, as we used already, and as we omitted already, this window dot can be omitted. Here, the time interval is 1 second, because that is 1000 milliseconds, and that is 1 second. Every 1 second, my timer will be invoked, and here, new date, and this function will be invoked, and here you don't need to worry about this method. This one is simply showing some time in this format, and you don't need to worry about this, thus I will remove this one. And simply we can get this a little bit more complicated, but don't worry about this one. Is simpler example using this variable about time, and you can see this time second that is being changed because that function will be called repeatedly every second. Every 2 seconds that will be executed, then we can implement like this. Then you can see, please focus on that time interval that is jumping to the next 2 seconds. After that, after 2 seconds, it will be jumping, skipping next time, next second, and it is okay. Because that is 2 second interval, and every 5 second interval we can show. The timer is here showing the interval is 5 seconds. 44, after that 49, after 5 seconds, that will be shown here. Because every 5 seconds this function will be called. And whenever this function is called, the time and the day and this information will be shown out. And simply we can stop that execution because that is being repeated forever. We can stop. And how to stop that? In the similar way, we can get the return the value in this variable, and this variable will be used for that. To stop this time, we can click this one, then you can see this one is stopped. Also similarly, we can eliminate this part because at this moment you don't need to worry about that method. Here, stop time, then you can see, and let's try to learn again. Here it is being repeated, and every second it is showing the result. And here I can stop here. And how that is being stopped? We are using this clear interval, and that parameter here, this one is the variable name here. When we are using this set interval, that is returned to this variable name, and we are using that variable name, and we can clear that repetition. Okay, this one is a skipped one and excluded chapter. And next chapter, okay, we just completed about the BOM, and let's move to this menu area, and we just completed this one except the final chapters, and we completed this one. And in next lecture we will be back to the HTML5 that is using JavaScript. I mentioned already, after learning some JavaScript and after completion of that, we'll be back and we'll learn about some HTML elements and especially HTML5. And those elements are using JavaScript, thus we'll be back. In next lecture, we'll learn about that. Today's lecture I'll finish here.